And let us continue. So we got the if this happens, if they select the pentagon, we're going to we're going to go to position 0, 0, and then we're going to draw the pentagon, and we're going to break out of the loop. We don't need to go any further. They can only select one shape, so we're going to break out of the while loop. Now we're going to do an elif. An elif, in some programming language, it's called an else if. Okay, so it's like merging the else and if together to be elif, because we don't have time to type the whole thing here in Python. So instead of a else if, we're going to call it elif, and we're going to check the next one, which is a hexagon. If they entered a hexagon, that's what they want to draw, right? We're going to, what are we going to do? Elif shape is equal to hexagon. This time, let's do a little bit of picker-upper, practice, review. We're going to pick up the pen. So I'm going to tell my turtle, Jack, to pick up the pen. So pen up. I'm going to use the pen up method, right? Use the pen up method. And a method is exactly the same as a function. The only difference is that the method we're using it's like a function that applies to an object, like the string object, dot upper, dot lower, capitalize, etc. Right? So hence the dot. Tell Jack to pick up the pen, and then I'm going to say, Jack, once you pick up the pen, and that's so Jack doesn't leave a tail. And you can uncomment that line and run the code, and you'll see. Right? We're going to say go to. But we put you at 0, 120. That looks like a good spot for you to draw. And you can play with this, right? So I pick up the pen and I got to put it down. So if I don't put the pen down, the code will still execute. It's just we won't see anything. And you could practice, you can uncomment that line. Actually, I don't even need pen up. Let's just use the dot up. Jack dot up, Jack dot down. Okay, we don't need pen up anymore. And then we're going to draw. We're going to call our function draw underscore hexagon. Make sure one of the error that you will get is if you are trying to call a function, double check that the spelling, you're calling the same function that you named your functions, right? And we're going to do another drop. We'll drop another piece of code here. So we're going to check. We checked for the pentagon. We checked for the hexagon. Now we're going to check for the octagon, right? So and this is going to come in the form of another elif. Elif shape equals. You're probably wondering why I'm not copy and pasting. Is that I want you to get into the habit of typing it up. Jack.up, up. Then we're going to go to, once we pick up the pen, we're going to go to a certain position where we're going to bring Jack to, let's see, where's bring Jack to, put it in the same spot. Put him in the same spot as before, and then now that we go to where we want to go, we up pen, go over here, put the pen down. Okay, so let's do Jack dot down, pop up, and now we draw underscore octagon, yes. Pause the video if you have to, and once we draw the octagon, we need to break out of the loop. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this code? What did I forget? Once we draw the shape, we need to break out of the loop, because no sense in us not breaking out of the loop. We can't draw another shape because we're only allowing the user to draw one shape at a time. If you want the user to draw multiple shapes at a time, you can. But that could be your challenge. So if the user if the shape is not a pentagon, we're going to check if the shape is a hexagon. If this is false, then we're going to check this condition. If this condition is false, so you know if it's true, we're going to execute the code that's indented. If this condition is false, we're going to go, last but not least, we do the else. So if this condition is true, do the code. If it's not true, if it's false, we're going to go check the elif, else if. Is the condition true or false? If it's false, we're going to go down. Else if. This condition is true or false. If it's false, we're going to assume the user entered an invalid shape. So we're going to tell the user invalid. I told you guys, one thing is stick to the single quotes or double quotes, because I started with, let's go back to single quotes. So I'm going to say invalid input. And then I'm going to enter. I'm going to go up here and tell them that just being Command C or Control C, enter shapes, pentagon, hexagon, or octagon. Okay, that's what we're going to tell the user. And that's it. There you have it. So I'm going to stop my code. I'm going to run the code. Fingers and toes crossed. I should have paused earlier on and run the code to make sure there were no errors. I didn't follow my own advice. So I'm hoping I didn't get all the way to the end to find errors. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. Okay. So it asks me to enter a, so my trinket is acting up. So let's see. Let's run this here. Come over here. Okay. And I'm going to enter the shape. I'm going to say, what do we want to draw? Let's enter nonsense. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Perfect. So it tells me invalid input, enter a shapes. Obviously, I didn't write that properly. Enter shapes. It should be saying enter shapes, pentagon, hexagon, or octagon. Doesn't matter. You get the idea. It works the way it's supposed to. I'm going to say, once I say invalid input, I'm going to keep, because we say while true, I'm going to keep repeating this until the user enter what I want the user to enter, which is one of these three shapes. So let's say the user enter a, let's check the hexagon. Okay, let's check that one because we use the go to and the pen up and the up and down method. So I want to make sure that works because this is trinket. So I can't remember if I need the pen up or the up. So let's see. Oh, perfect. All right. So note the location where it draws the shape. Perfect. That's fantastic. Now I'm going to run the code again, and this time I'm going to use the pentagon because I put the pentagon in 0, 0 position. Okay, 0, 0 position. I didn't do 0, 120, longitude and latitude. But before I do that, you know what? Save your code, save your code, save your code, save your code. Okay, so I'm going to run this again, and I said I was going to select a pentagon, right? So notice when you need to select, come over here. You don't need to put your code in Trinket, the free trinket.io. You could have used Python on your computer or any other Python interpreter. So I'm going to use the pentagon, and okay, 0, 0 right about here. Okay. Perfect. That's it for today. We've covered a lot. We did the for loop, the while loop. We reviewed the functions. We reviewed the conditions inside. This only gets executed once this statement is true. If it's false, we go down, we check here. If this is false, we come on down, we check this condition. And last but not least, we're going to assume that, hey, if you didn't enter a pentagon, you didn't enter a hexagon, you didn't enter a octagon, it's an invalid input. We're going to send you back up into the loop to enter the shape again. We did the go to position. We got to break out of the loop. Once we draw that shape, we don't care, we're out of there. If you want to enhance this code, I would say instead of advance, if you want to enhance this code, what you can do is have the user draw multiple shapes, but you can use the go to position to draw them maybe together on the screen. And also you can enhance this again by asking the user, do you want to draw another shape? Right? And if they want to draw another shape, then you repeat, right? So you can, I'm not going to give you the answer here. You can try to figure it out, how to prompt the user to draw another shape or to draw side by side. Another thing you can do is, right now my background color is white. You can change the background color to another color. Maybe you want to change the background color to black, give it that nice contrast. But whatever you do, make sure you're having fun, make sure you're learning. This concludes covering the some of the basic concepts in Python. I hope you enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your day.